Hi, and welcome to the Boat Princess podcast. My name is Nikki Vo, and I'm your host. I'm a boat owner, a marinas owner, an international conference presenter, and a huge advocate for boating. I'm sharing the stories from every nook of the boating industry with the intention of encouraging more women to join me and for more women to get behind the helm too. I want to share the experience and opportunities of boating, of the boating industry, and I want you to join me as I bring the conversations and answer all the questions you've had. Boating is not just for the glamorous and rich and famous, it's full of beautiful and interesting people making the most of our natural environment and getting out there enjoying the waterways. So, let's let off the lines, take over the helm, and escape to the world of boating. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Boat Princess podcast. This is going to be an absolute ripper of an interview because this woman is extraordinary. Now, it's very real today because we are sitting outside Southampton Boat Show. It is a bit breezy, so just bear with us. It is a boat show. We are very real. We are at boat show, but Sarah is here to talk to us, and that's really important. So Sarah Donohue, welcome to the Boat Princess podcast.
It's great to be here in sunny, windy Southampton and to be with you.
So, you've got a whole bunch of letters under your name for your title on your email. So, I'm going to get you to explain those, okay? So, Sarah Donohue says she's a CTC/CPC/RTI events and troubleshooting. What does that mean?
It's the Cows Torquay Cows Powerboat Race, Cows Pool Cows, and also round the island. Those are the big races over here, especially the Cows Torquay. It's the most famous race really in the world, and it's a marathon race. It's 210 miles, and it's a real endurance race for the races. I've done it. At the moment I'm not doing it. I'm on terra firma, on dry land. So if the lads need anything or they need help with anything or they want to ask anything, they come to me. I sort all the problems out.
The Cows race has been going since I was a teenager.
1961 it started.
Yeah.
So it's been going a long time. It is actually the longest running endurance race because it's never actually had a break. So it's been continuous, where you get a lot of big famous races, but they might have missed a year, 5 years, or even 10 years. But Cows has been continuous.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back just a little way to when you were a young girl. How on earth did you decide you were going to get into this?
See, it's really strange because I think most people get into powerboat racing because of family or they've got friends that do it. And mine was a little bit different because I got in through a gentleman called Charles Burnett. So Charles Burnett III, he was a Texan billionaire, and I just happened to be in one of his nightclubs in London. And it was a Tex-Mex restaurant called Los Locos. And I was in there on these, like you have the Bucking Broncos and the big blow-up things, but it was a surfboard. And nobody was going on it. And I thought, I'm going to give it a go. So I got on it and obviously fell off a lot. And then I started getting everyone up. And then once one person gets on it, then everybody starts getting on it. So all of a sudden the restaurant's really busy, everyone's laughing, everyone's having a kind of great time. And then the manager came up and just said to me, listen, we'd really like you to work here. And he offered me really good money, and it was all cash, and I only had to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, 2 hours a night. And he offered me good money, so I did that. But after I'd been there a couple of weeks, the Texan walks in, Charles Burnett. I obviously didn't know who it was, and we just had a bit of banter, and he just said, listen, he said, Tim, I really like the new girl. I want her for the powerboat team. And Tim said, you can't have her because I've got her here at the club. That's why. He said, I found her first. And Charles said, no, she's coming with me. She's on the powerboat team. So Charles then said to me, would you come onto the powerboat team and would you race? And I just went, yeah, all right. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the powerboat racing was. I didn't really know anything about it. But the thing is, it's one of those, I always say seize the day. And if someone offers you something that sounds exciting, that is exciting, and it's real, do it and take the bull by the horns. So first I went up to help with a bit of promo and media at Lake Windermere when he was getting his speed record. And then it was after that he bought me a 16-foot Phantom with a 90 horsepower on the back. He got me set up with another female, so I had another female who was one of the safety divers for the races such as the Cows Torquay race. So Deborah Cottrell. So me and Deborah Cottrell started racing together. It wasn't that easy. I obviously had to train, and we got someone in to train me. And then there's no better training than being in a race, because races are different than going out on the water testing. So that was the start of my career, really. I was offered something amazing. I took the bull by the horns, did it, and that was in 1993. And here I am. I'm still at it.
You've never actually driven a boat before he offers you that. Is that right? Or...
Yeah, no, the only boat I'd ever been on is Brittany Ferry on a family holiday from here, from Southampton over to France.
Yeah.
That was it. No, I knew nothing about boats. I was a massive water baby. I spent all my time on the water, but I'd never driven a boat. So it was all new to me. And I think with powerboating, especially a race boat, you can either race one or you can't. You either feel it or you can't feel it, because you have to balance the weight within the boat. You've got the trim and everything and the water ballast. So you can either do it, you can't. Fortunately, I could do it. I loved it. I still love it.
You must have a very strong belief in yourself. For the average person, they turn around and say, you're going to race a boat in the powerboat offshore racing teams. Most people will go, oh, not sure about that. But you didn't do that.
No, I didn't. But I wanted to be a stunt woman. So I was brought up with 6 boys.
Yep.
And it was back in the era when we didn't have telephones and computers. So everything I did was outside. And as soon as I got home from school, Mum would kick me out of the house, go out and play. And we lived in fields, valleys, waterfalls. We lived on the edge of the Yorkshire Moors. It was beautiful. So everything I did was active. Then I wanted to be a stunt woman. So for me, it was just something else that was challenging. Yeah, maybe most people may not have done, or especially most women, but that wasn't what I was about. I was always into sports, and I've always been into sports since I was a kid. So for me, it was just something new and exciting.
Okay, so let's backtrack that a little bit then. The sports you were into as a child, what were they?
I was actually a cross-country runner, and I was a swimmer. So I was into those sort of things. And I swam at county level. So those were my favourite things, and water. So my mum had me I could swim before I could walk. And my mum had me in the swimming pool virtually every night of the week on a school day. But not every night, every morning before school, I was in a swimming pool training before I then went to school. So for me, I was a water baby. But I loved athletics. So I've always been into sports of all kinds. I love it.
Yeah, so you've got a real confidence in the water then. That's a good start.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when somebody said to you, racing a boat, that didn't faze you in any way because you're so comfortable with the water.
Yeah, I loved it, and it was exciting. And when I actually saw his boat on Lake Windermere when he was getting a speed record, it was a 28-foot skater. It was bright yellow. It had a vulture on it, and it said Lost Low Cost down the side, the crazy ones. And it was just beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. When he got me a boat, I was just super excited. And because it was a world record, there were other boats down there getting records. So I just couldn't wait to get started. It was really strange when I got in a boat because obviously you press your foot down and you start going really fast. No, it was just exciting. And then it was learning how to balance the boat and keep the nose down and keep it level. And it was just exciting. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I still love it now.
Amazing. And so you're learning how to drive this speedboat. How long did it take you to really get it down pat for you?
See, now that's actually a really hard one because I think with a boat, you never stop learning.
True enough, yeah.
And you never stop learning because every time you go on the water, it's completely different. So the racetrack is a ever-moving racing surface. It's unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. And I know they say, set up your boat before you go out. If it's rough, you have a smaller propeller. If it's flat, a bigger propeller. But the bottom line is it can be rough. And then as soon as you put your boat in the water, then all of a sudden it's flat.
Yes.
It's one of those things. So I never think you really master racing, if you get what I mean. You can master learning how to balance your boat, but there's always something new you learn every day. But I think by the time I was on my, 3rd or 4th race, I understood what it was like to be on a start line with a whole fleet of other boats. And it's the person with the biggest bowls first round the turn mark, because everyone's heading for that turn mark. And you just got to keep your foot down and go for it. So, yeah, I don't think you ever master it, but you learn every race, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. It's interesting, we as a marina in Lake Macquarie, so Empire Marina Lake Macquarie, is the major sponsor of the powerboat races that happen on Lake Macquarie. So there is a link between you and me there, and I have seen those powerboats in action. So I know how fast they go. But to give the listeners a feel of how fast they go, how fast do you go in those races?
So it does depend. The good thing about me is that, and quite a few of us, we've started small and then got bigger. And a lot of the rich guys come straight in and they get the big boats, whereas I started in a small boat. When I was in the 16-foot Phantom with a 90 horsepower, let's say that's 55 miles an hour, but you always double it on land, don't you? So it's like going 110 on land. And then I progressed up. I think I went to a 21-foot Frode and then a 27-foot Cougar catamaran. So now you're adding speed. You're going up to, let's say, 85 miles an hour. And then I was in a different boat, and then that's 90. And the quickest one I've been in is a Class 1 Victory Hull, I think it was. I'm sure it was a Victory Hull. A Class 1 called Qatar. I think it was Qatar 95. And I've been 140 miles an hour in her, and that was a real experience. 140 miles an hour, so it's 280 in a car. And again, you're on an unpredictable surface, aren't you? And that was really incredible, but you're in an enclosed canopy. So even though you're going that fast, you don't feel like you're going that fast because you're in an enclosed canopy. So it's very different being in an open cockpit and a closed cockpit. And what do I prefer? In the bigger boats, it's smoother. In the smaller boats, it hurts more. And you do feel safer in the bigger boats with a canopy, where you're more exposed in an open boat. But I prefer a small open boat. And I don't know why I do that, but yeah, it hurts more. It's colder. It's wetter. But it's more fun. I love the small boats.
Is it because it's more of a challenge, almost?
Yeah, and it's, especially if you're in something like a little 16-foot Phantom and you're out in a huge swell, it's really difficult. It's hard, it's taxing. I mean, it's painful as well, but it really makes you feel alive. It's amazing. It's just such a brilliant feeling.
Love it. So you said earlier that you wanted as a child to be a stunt woman. Where did that come from? Watching movies? Where did that want come from for you?
I think it actually came from watching a lot of movies, but for me it just seemed to be a natural progression because I was very active and it was just something that I really wanted to do. That's the only thing I can say. It was just something that really sparked an interest because I just enjoyed that sort of thing, and I like excitement and I like to see how things work because not everything that you see in film and TV is how it is, and it might have taken a long time to get to that point, and it might have taken 10 takes, 12 takes. You just don't know. It was just an exciting thing that I wanted to do.
And so does one study to be a stunt person? I don't know what that is. How you get there?
I think it's very different in the UK industry and maybe other industries. So in the UK industry, you come under stunt equity and you have to do certain things. So you have, I don't know if it's the same now. I'm going back a long time now. So let's say you have a falling category. So in the falling category, so you had to either be able to skydive, be good at trampolining, or high diving. And the reason for that is you would then know how to fall and you'd understand heights. And I'm not just saying you've done a tandem skydive or anything like that. You had to have X amount of 100 skydives under your belt. And with trampolining, you had to be an incredible trampolinist. There's certain things that you had to go through. There's a riding category, and that could be a horse rider. And don't get me wrong, it's not just being able to trot on a horse. You had to be a great horse rider. So you'd either be able to ride a horse or ride a motorbike. And then you'd have a water category. So that would be scuba diving, but that would be commercial diving. So you'd have to go and either be a commercial diver, and if you're a swimmer, you'd have to be an expert swimmer. So they have categories, and and there was a fighting category. So you'd have to be a black belt in, let's say, kickboxing or judo or something like that. So there's lots of different categories, and you had to have one in each. So you were accomplished all-rounder, and then you've got to hope that you get the work. So that's how it works in the UK. So it's
you were obviously the water category because you're an excellent swimmer, and then you've got the boats.
No, this is just it. Everyone has to do one in each. So you have to be a bit of a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
However, it wasn't the same for me. And quite a few people bypass that because if they need someone for a film and they haven't got someone that does that particular thing, sometimes they have to bypass the stunt register to get what they want. So if you think about it, so when I did the Bond film, if you look for a girl that races powerboats on the stunt register, then you won't find one because the only woman that was racing powerboats was me. So then they have to go, right, where do we find a female powerboat racer? So they contact the Royal Yachting Association. Are there any female powerboat racers? Yes, we have one, Sarah Donohue. We have one. Yes, we have one. Yes, so that was it. And then you get the call from Eon Productions. So I've been very lucky because I'm very niche. So if I was a brilliant martial artist, wouldn't make any difference because there are millions of martial artists out there. There's just millions of them. So I'm very lucky that I'm very niche in that.
And I know you've done some diving stunts as well, right?
You work on set underwater, but you have to be a commercial dive for that, for all your insurances.
Oh, I see.
Or you do in the UK.
Yep.
And that's more, you can be working underwater with someone and making sure that they're safe and they have air, but you have to get your commercial diving, which I did through Andark, based here at Southampton.
Yeah.
And it's quite difficult, the commercial diving
course.
It
is, isn't it?
Because I am a scuba diver,
yeah.
But then you have to do your commercial diving course, which is a lot more complicated. Oh, everything's complicated, isn't it? Things are just complicated. Really enjoyable, but really complicated, but wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that stunt woman water boat space, what's the most exciting one you've done?
I still have to go back to the first when I did Bond, The World's Not Enough. I have to go back to that because I think because I was new in stunts, and at that age you've got no fear.
Yeah.
So new in stunts, but no fear. And then I was asked to smash a pier near the Houses of Parliament. And that, for me, it was just great. But in powerboat racing, I'm supposed to be there to miss things. You're not there to hit things. And just as I was about to go into the pier, just set off, they just said, take your time whenever you've got this. And they said, but whenever you don't get it wrong, because we've only got one, because it's a breakaway pier.
Of course.
So they make it over in Pinewood, they bring it in, they set it all up. And then to make it look good, they've got the little splinters because they've got little explosions that make the big, all explodes. But inside there, there's 30 stunt people that have to dive out of the way. And they said, but don't get it wrong because then you've got the helicopter over you. But it was it was a drone, but it was a big drone. But before drones are as they are now.
Yes.
So yeah, you've got all these people, let's say 200 people on set, all waiting for this one big moment, and it's all in your hands.
Whoa,
no pressure. And Gary Powell, just as I was about to leave, because I'm watching the water as well, and I'm thinking, I need to watch the water, Gary Powell just turned around to me and he said, smash it, girl. And when he said that, I thought, okay, I've got this one. And that was great. You just wait for the water, watch the water. And again, you've got to watch the water because where you think you've just got to touch it and it'll splinter, and you've got people in there, remember that if you get a little bit of a swell in that water, that means your back end could skip a foot, 2 foot, 3 foot.
Yeah.
You just don't know, do you? You're on water.
Yes.
It's just not the same as being on land. So it's just about watching the water, gauging it, making sure you don't injure whoever's in there, but also getting that perfect shot for them. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I got it, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no point in saying got it first time. I only had one shot to do it. It was, you have to get it. There's no choice. You have to get this shot.
No choice at all.
No choice.
And
no
completely
pressure.
against, as you say, your instinct, because you're used to missing stuff and you've got to hit something.
That's just it. I think that's the hard thing. You spend all those years making sure that you don't hit anything.
Yeah.
And then you're asked to hit things.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah, it goes across against everything that you know, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you stunt doubled for Cameron Diaz at one stage as well, didn't you? Which one was that?
It was the recent one. I think it's still on Netflix at the moment, Back in Action. So that was good. Again, that was in a boat on the Thames, and it's nice. And she's really easy to work with as well. She's so easy to work with.
Yeah.
And she got on the boat, and we're obviously wearing the same thing. And she got on the boat, and she hasn't got a big coat, and I'm freezing. And I look at her, and I take my coat off, and I said, Cameron, put this on. And she said, oh no. I said, honestly, it's so cold, and I'm trying to give her my big jacket.
Yes.
And she said, oh no. She said, listen. She said, Sarah, I live in California. She said, it's 40 degrees out there. She said, I am loving this weather. And it's freezing cold. We're scraping ice off the boat. And she's just there, happy to be cold. I thought, that's what I've got me coat if you want it.
And as we say that, there's a big gust of wind coming across us, as you can hear on those microphones. And it is cold.
It's chilly. It's chilly. Oh, listen, Cameron likes cold weather. She'd love it here. She'd think this is brilliant.
All right, so I know you do a lot on the side of what you do as well. So you're obviously heavily involved in powerboat racing, but I know you're also the UIM Sports Commissioner. And I know that's important to you. Tell us about that.
Do you know, being a sports commissioner, I don't think it was called sports commissioner back then. I think it was just UIM commissioner. But I had lots of my friends are commissioners, and that was way back decades ago, and I thought, oh, I'd love to be a commissioner. But it's something that you only think about because you're so young in powerboat racing. And then as you move up the ranks and you've been in powerboat racing as long as me, like over 30 years, it got to the point I thought, how do I become a commissioner? So I spoke to Jean-Marie, who's the vice president of the UIM, and he said, he said, you can't speak to me. He said, you have to go via your club. He said, but Jean-Marie was my friend, so naturally I went to Jean-Marie. He said, no, he said, you need to go through your own club, the BPBA, British Powerboat Racing Association. I said, oh, okay. So I got in touch with Chris Loney and Bob McCarthy at the BPBA, and I said, listen, I'd really like to be a sports commissioner. How do I do that? So they said, the first thing is sending your CV. So it doesn't matter that they've known you for 30 years, because I really think that when you send in your CV, they want to see how committed you are, because you can't just turn around and say, oh, come on, guys, you've known me 30 years. It's not about that. It's like, first, put your pen to paper, write everything down. It's almost like a first test, isn't it? So then I wrote my CV down, and I'm writing it, and I'm thinking, I can't even remember what I did 30-odd years ago. So there's loads of blank spaces where I've just put, can't remember, no idea what went on that year. And obviously I've said to them, listen, there's blank spaces. I said, because I just can't remember. I was racing, but I don't know what I raced. I don't know. You just can't remember. No one's got a memory that good. And then he gave me some other things to fill in, showed me how to do it. And I think really, if you're a racer and you've been racing this long, I think it's a natural progression to go into to be a UIM commissioner, because you know exactly what's needed at an event. Yeah. So it's not a case of you learn, you already know, and you already know the rules. So you've got the rule book, but you know the rules anyway. But yeah, I fell into it and I loved it, and it was really important to me. And then it was really nice, and my first gig was Lake Como.
Oh, tough gig.
It was fabulous. So I went to Lake Como as a sports commissioner. It's great, and you make sure that it's safe for racers. You make sure it's safe for the officials. You make sure it's safe for the volunteers or the people watching, and you're just there to make sure the racing goes ahead, everything's safe, everything's run on time, and everybody's having a good time, and everybody's got what they need.
Yeah, so you're the fixer.
Yeah, you've just got to make sure, and you need to make sure that the race organiser as well is doing it right. But of course they're doing it right, because these guys have been organising races for ages, and the race organiser down there, or the officer of the day, was Marcello Zanardi. Now, Marcello Zanardi, who's the Italian guy, he's a UIM commissioner himself.
Okay.
So the thing is, he knows what I expect because he is a UIM commissioner. So it was really great to work with Marcello, and I've known Marcello for over 30 years. So when I turned up there, it was great. So I know everyone. So it's wonderful because you know all these people, because you've been racing for so long. You've been with them in every country, in every kind of race scenario. So I love it, being a sports commissioner. And I love the UIM, you see.
Yeah. So what does UIM stand for those who are listening and don't know?
Union International Motor Nautique.
Oh,
UIM, yes.
Okay.
And they govern all motorsports on water, and that's anything from jet skis to hydroplanes to whatever. But not everybody's with the UIM, but most are. For your official, let's say, world speed records on water, you would be with the UIM to get that.
okay. And the commissioner is the person that's specifically focused on safety and making sure everything's been done the way it is supposed to be done, basically.
Making sure that if you are running a UIM event, a world or a European championship, that the rules are adhered to. So you must make sure that the rules are adhered to, that there's fair racing and also safe racing. So it's very important. Rules, it's got to be fair, it's got to be safe. It's got to be safe on water and in the pit area. So everybody is doing their job and everybody is happy. And you write a report on that.
So obviously Lake Como was a tough gig.
It was so tough.
Any other locations that you've totally hated going to?
Norway was wonderful, but Norway is historic for powerboat racing. So I was in Norway literally a few months ago, and that was beautiful. It really was spectacular. And the organisers had done such a great job, and the racing was good, the organisation was good, and the VIP was good. It was just good. It was just superb. But powerboat racing is good because it's the people that make it, and people in powerboat racing are nice.
Yeah.
It's a family sport, especially it was a real family sport over in Norway. But it is a family sport, and everyone's so nice.
Yeah.
I love powerboat races.
That's so good. Yeah, the guys that turn up at our marina at Lake Macquarie, they're all lovely people.
Yeah, they are. They're
Yeah.
super nice, super
Yeah.
nice. Worldwide, super nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you on that one. So you have on your website a mention of a biography called The World Is Not Enough.
The world is never enough.
World is never enough.
The
World is not enough. It's a movie,
it's
isn't
a
it?
film, so never enough. Yes.
Tell me about that.
Someone said to me, why don't you write a biography because you've done so much? And I thought, nah, no one will want to read that. And then I was actually thinking of some of the stories, and I was thinking, oh, God, it could actually be really funny. So the first thing I did, I had to look at the chapters I wanted and what stages of my life, because I've done a lot in my life. So you break it down into chapters, and then you actually think of the powerboating, the funny stories. Oh, and there's so many funny stories.
I can imagine.
But you think, which are the funniest? And then you have to ask the guy's permission. Listen, can I mention your name or not? Because some are quite touch and go. One of the guys, tub humping, Cliff Smith, he was trying to break in a new engine in Gibraltar when we were racing out there. But of course, the speed limits because of the drug running. You can't be going fast outside of the racing times. But he needed to run an engine in. So we dropped the boat in late at night, and then he shot out of the harbour. And of course, the police boat's following him. So then they played cat and mouse with the police boat trying to catch him.
Yeah.
It was so funny but he would have been arrested because he's now going fast in a place you're not allowed to go fast because it's about the catch drug runners there. So there are really harsh speed restrictions.
Yes.
I don't know if it's as bad now, but it was back then. But that was funny. And then the police couldn't find him. And then before you know it, the boat had come back, craned out, gone, cover on, before the police had even known. Because when he comes in, he can come in really quick. And then before you know it, the boat's out of the water and everyone's gone and the police are still looking around. But then they go around touching the engines, don't they? Which one's warm? It's this boat. We're going to get him tomorrow. But yeah, so the book, it's just about finding the funny stories and then asking the guy's permission, can I mention your name? And all the lads are like, yeah, put in what you want. So it was great writing it. And as I'm writing it, there's loads of those laugh out loud moments and my husband's shouting, are you laughing at yourself again? And I'm like, yeah, but this is so funny. Yeah, so I wrote it and then had it all edited, photos in the middle which correlate with some of the stories. And I had a really good reaction to it. I had a couple of people ask me on the radio shows and we spoke about it on, I think it was Radio 2 and some others. So it was good. But it is funny. It is comical. And even though it's a female life story, it's not female when you read it. It's the guys have read it, the racers have read it.
Yes.
And they found it really funny. But it's not a girl's book. It's girls or a guy's book. Because the stories, in reality, are boys' stories because I'm a racing driver.
Yeah.
So the guys will get it because it is funny the way I've written it.
Yeah. Wonderful. So all genders.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
All genders. So I know you're very concerned about marine conservation as well. That's very important to you. Obviously, the ocean is our playground, so
Yes.
we need to make sure we take care of it. And I know you're really heavily involved with turtles. You've got a wonderful Instagram handle, haven't you?
I've only just started. No, hold on. No, TikTok handle. The TikTok.
handle.
Yeah, She Tickle Turtles. But I haven't started filling that up yet because I wanted to. I've done 56 videos while I was there, so I'll start putting those together when I've got time. Because at the moment, I've got back from Greece. I was back a few days, then came over to the Southampton Boat Show. It's like non-stop. But yes, so She Tickles Turtles will be up and running quite soon. But yeah, I try and do as much as I can for marine conservation. And I was in Greece, and in 2 weeks, I was there for 3 weeks, but in 2 weeks we rescued 1,136 hatchlings and got them safely to the ocean. Because with the hatchlings and the loggerheads, they say only 1 in 1,000 turtles reaches adulthood. Now, the female loggerhead can't really lay eggs until she's around 20, 25 years old.
Yeah.
So those turtles have to get to 20, let's say 20 years old, before she can even lay her first set of eggs. That's a long time to survive.
That is.
So it's difficult. There's only 1 in 1,000 reach adulthood.
Yeah.
And even though they're living for up to, let's say, 80 to 100 years, not all of them are even living that long anymore because of marine pollution, plastics, getting hit by propellers. And if they get hit by a propeller in a harbour, if anyone's listening, please beware of turtles in harbours. Because if you break the shell, as much as the shell can mend, it could get infected. But if air gets under there, they can't dive for food, so they could starve. But they also can't dive out of the way of predators. So there's lots of problems with turtles getting hit. So we are making the lifespan of a turtle shorter by marine pollution and turtles getting hit by boats.
So when I've been out boating, I've never seen a sign saying, like in Australia, we're driving down the road, there's a sign that says koalas.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful on those roads to look carefully to make sure we don't hit a koala. Is there turtle signs on the water anywhere?
No, in Florida you do get manatee signs, and I'm not sure, I haven't seen any turtle signs. There's bound to be some around the Florida Keys. Funnily enough, I'm going to the Turtle Hospital at Marathon in November. So I'm sure there will be some down there. I know there's definitely manatee signs, but there should be more because people aren't aware of them. And in the harbour Argostoli, Kefalonia, which is Greece, there are turtles in the harbour, and you've got to be really careful. So while I was there, we have a guy that flies a drone over the water, and if he sees a turtle, he'll zoom in on it, just check the turtle. And it didn't have a cracked shell, but it did have a wire hanging out of its mouth, so it had swallowed a hook, and then it had a wire trailing from it, which in time will get wrapped around his flippers. So they took the turtle out. They then send a team down. They take the turtle out of the water. They bring it back to where we are, our accommodation, and then the vet came down a few days later. Unfortunately, the hook hadn't wedged too far down its throat. So where the carapace ends, its shell on the back of its neck, if you translate that to the front of the neck, the hook had got stuck there. So the vet went in, removed the hook, then removed the fishing line, so then it can go back out and swim safely, because otherwise you've got the problem with the hook, and then you've got the wire wrapping around the legs. And then, of course, turtles can end up dying, and it spent all that time getting through to adulthood, and then it dies. It's difficult.
That's tough.
Yeah. Tough life being a turtle.
Yeah. Who knew? They look so chilled.
They are. They're so chilled and they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And also it's a case of people feed turtles in harbours, but don't feed turtles in harbours, because then you're going to draw turtles into harbours. And then also you're going to draw them into harbours. They're going to eat things they shouldn't eat. So fishermen feeding them fish. Fish, it's not a part of their diet.
No.
And you don't want them in harbours eating fish, because then they stop foraging for food, for the necessary food they need to eat, which keeps them healthy. So there's lots of issues surrounding them, but you can't really tell fishermen not to feed them, because they've been feeding them for decades, haven't they? It's in their blood, because their fathers before them have fed them. But there's certain things you can do to protect wildlife. And the less interaction you have with wildlife, the better, because it's wildlife. Yes. You need to leave it alone. It needs to be protected.
That's a very good way of putting it. I like that. Yeah, very good. Let's have a moment for talking about women in the boating industry and women in boating and generally. And say there's a woman out there that wants to drive a boat, but she's listening to you and you're talking about racing boats. So to her, you feel another league. Is there any advice you could give that woman to say, just get to it, you can do this?
Yeah, totally. If there's any females out there that actually want to race, and that doesn't matter if you're a driver or let's say a navigator, or even if you go in, if there's a third seat and you're a passenger, the best way to start is to go to an event and ask if you can volunteer. They love volunteers. And you can volunteer on land, you might go out in a boat and volunteer, you might be on a turn mark, you're making sure the boats go the right side of it. There is so many things you can do as a volunteer. Just go down and say, listen, I love the powerboat racing, I'd love to volunteer. Is there any way I can volunteer for you or at your next event? And they're bound to say yes, they'll take your name and they'll get you volunteering. So if you see that there is a race on somewhere, you can contact the racing organisation and just ask them, listen, I'm a volunteer, would love to help. And when you go down there, you get to meet the racers and just go and chat to the racers. And at some point, someone will put you in a boat. I guarantee you someone will put you in a boat. Or they'll say, do you want to go out testing? Would you like a go? I need to test this propeller. Do you live close by? Why don't you come out with me? You can't. It is that easy because the racers are so nice.
Yeah.
They're so nice and they will take you out.
Amazing. That's great advice. Because I wouldn't think of doing that. I wouldn't think of going out to the powerboat guys and saying, even though we sponsor them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't know any of them, you assume if you volunteer because they see your face around, you say hello to them all the time. And if you live on the coast or near the water and you want to have a go, you can even go up to the guy and say, listen, I'd love to get in a boat sometime. Go for the smaller boats, because with the canopied boats, of course, it's just not possible and you need to do dunk tests and yara and all that. But with the other boats, the smaller boats, just go up and say to the guys, is there any chance that when you next go out, would I be able to come out and go testing with you? I guarantee they will say yes.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, I guarantee you they will.
Yeah, brilliant. So, anything else you want to share with our listeners of the Boat Princess Pop-Up podcast, Sarah?
No, I don't think so. But if anybody wants to see what I'm up to, then my Instagram is Sarah Donohue Official. And I'm always up to something, somewhere. I'm usually volunteering, helping out. But yeah, just come and catch up on there. And if they want to message me and ask me any questions about volunteering or about turtles or about anything at all, then, they can always get in touch.
Fantastic. And you and I are on the stage on Wednesday at Southampton Boat Show, aren't we? We're doing I'm comparing. You are part of the panel.
Indeedy, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's
Wednesday
very exciting.
afternoon.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
I've got such an incredible bunch of women on that stage.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
great.
excited for it. And of course, the room will be full of some amazing people from the boating industry as well, which is fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so good. Sarah, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for listening through this and coping with that wind. My producer has probably cut a lot of it out because he's very good at that. But it's genuinely been in the middle of a boat show. We've enjoyed this moment. Thank you very much for being here, Sarah.
Great. Thank you, Nikki. I've loved it. Thank you.
And we'll see you on the water soon. Hi everyone, thought I'd just jump in here and say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate you doing so. Please share it with your friends, tell people about it, and give us a review. We'd really appreciate a review. We'd like to know what you'd like to hear about as well. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Nikki Vo, the Boat Princess, and Instagram at the Boat Princess. If you'd like to get involved in some of our events, then contact us at info@theboatprincess.com or simply sign up for our newsletter at theboatprincess.com. You take care. We'll see you on the water soon. It's lovely to have you here. We appreciate you. The Boat Princess podcast is hosted by Nikki Vo, produced by the Boat Princess Media, and available anywhere you get your podcast.